Welcome to the Afterthoughts podcast, episode 110, like 1/10, which begs the question, do Christians have to tithe? We're going to talk about that today.
Wow.
And many other things. For two of us, I noticed when we got here, it's Cool Shirts Day. I'm wearing my new Buffs hoodie.
Yeah.
Doug's wearing a Ryder Cup shirt.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm wearing a very plain black shirt with a black shirt and black jeans and white shoes.
Kind of gothic today.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm going
That's
through
awesome hoodie.
I'm going through some stuff right now, but I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, okay. Perfect. We'll move on then. We don't want to talk about it either.
We don't want to hear about it.
Perfect.
If you can't tell, we're all a little on edge today.
Oh yeah.
I'm just going to give away on this episode that we are recording this the morning of the day when we will be doing
That was my first thought this morning. Today is the morning of the day.
It's the morning of the day when we will do stand-up comedy. And knowing that, and knowing
For the first time.
Oh yeah, and
This-
probably the last.
this episode will come out after we've done it, so I thought it might be good for us to just pre-record some responses for people about how it went.
Okay.
Just kind of,
that's
talk
fun.
to the
Yeah.
camera and tell people like,
Yeah.
hey guys, thanks so much for being there. We had a great time. And I'm really sorry. I was just trying to have some fun with my friends, and I didn't mean anything. So
Yeah. Can I try
cover
one?
our bases. Yeah.
Hey guys, thanks so much for coming to comedy. And I'm really sorry for Ethan. He was just trying to have fun with his friends.
Thank you.
He's right.
I'm not sorry about anything. I had a blast with my buddies.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be fun.
Yep. Thanks for coming out to support.
Yep.
Yes.
It means the world to us.
It is going to be really fun.
I think so.
Right. I mean, as of when this episode is airing, my phone is going crazy with agents calling me.
Seriously?
I'm sure yours are too.
Yeah.
And now I'm having to decide, will I continue to work at the church? Will I just full-time do stand-up? Am I going to try to do both?
Do I sign with the same manager as Donald, or do I sign with a different manager?
I don't know.
I'm trying to
Question.
decide which
Yeah.
of my 3 shows to put on Netflix. It's really hard for me.
Yeah. So your special is scheduled this month now.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to splice like the best of the 3
Congrats
together
on that.
into one.
You're doing Netflix.
And so-
You're doing Hulu. Is that right?
Peacock.
Peacock. Nice. Nice. Mine's not going to be on ESPN Plus. Yeah. It's really niche.
Are you going to wear your hoodie?
Yes, yeah, because my hoodie. ESPN's trying to get into the comedy game. So yeah, that's great. Another update is
You and Frank, impressions guy.
Frank Caliendo.
Frank Caliendo,
Dude,
that's
that guy
it.
is so
That guy
good at
was wild.
impressions.
It's phenomenal.
There's different pieces of comedy that get people. Good impressions might be the thing that gets me the most.
We should get Frank onto the Afterthoughts podcast and have him impersonate all of us.
Oh, Kayla, make this a priority.
Yes.
Is he your favorite impressionist?
I'm trying to think of others.
Do you know who Jay Farrow is? I think
Yes.
I'm saying his name right.
Yes, I know who you're talking about.
Oh my gosh.
Very
man,
good.
That guy he's so good.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah,
It almost kind of
it's-
freaks
it's
you out when
incredible,
people
right?
are that spot on.
Shane Gillis does the best Donald Trump impression.
Yeah.
He's better at Donald Trump than Donald Trump.
Donald Trump is.
He's so good at it. So I love impressions. But you know who's scary good at impressions is artificial intelligence.
Right.
They're doing impressions that are
Yeah.
Here we
making
go
people think
again.
it's real.
The whole first 4 minutes of this episode hasn't actually been us. It's been AI.
That's right. Yeah, Ethan, we got to get you on here at some point. He can do such a good impression of like an AI
Yes.
bot, but human-looking bot talking to you.
Yeah, I gotta practice this some more. But
Okay, it's
Okay,
really
so
good.
not right now.
No.
Okay.
Next week. Tune in next
Even
week.
I'm
does-
just like
he's
a
like,
really hyper
"Hi."
realistic robot right now, so pretty realistic, right?
But he does the
I like this. I like this a lot.
catches, like it starts talking. Oh, that's a great point, Ethan.
He does a good job. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you for sharing that.
I'm so glad that you asked that. I'm glad you're enjoying the show. What else can I help you with?
The pause is always just a little too long.
Yes.
One quick sports update.
Okay.
Because some people care about that stuff. And I've now signed with ESPN for my comedy
Right.
special.
Congrats.
The Denver Broncos are 10-2. The
Unbelievable.
The Kansas City Chiefs are 6-6. That's interesting. It seems like we're doing way better than they are.
Man.
It's honestly kind of hard to know who's good in football.
This year, not sure anybody is great.
I know.
Nobody's
man.
great.
It's going to be wild. Like the playoffs and everything. It's going to be really fun
It's
to
gonna
watch.
be awesome.
Yeah.
It's going to be a bloodbath out there.
The Patriots are 11-2.
Yeah, but they've had a cake schedule. They've only
Yeah.
played 2 teams so far that currently have winning records. So I'm not I'm not sure yet.
Yeah.
Are they a contender or a pretender? We're gonna find out. I could see them getting knocked out.
We
the
will
first
find
round.
out.
How about the Chiefs losing on Thanksgiving?
Phenomenal.
It's like
That's what I'm thankful for.
God just decided to collectively just pour blessing on this country
Yes.
that day.
Wow.
He's like,
Grateful.
everyone's had a tough go.
Grateful.
Everybody
need-
needs a win.
They need this.
Yeah.
They really need this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's great. We'll talk about tithing in a second, but Kayla's got something going on over some shenanigans.
Let's go, Kayla.
Kayla, welcome back to the
Thank
Afterthoughts
you.
podcast, of course.
Yeah. I mean, technically we had a episode last week, but we weren't in office last week, so it like feels
I know.
crazy.
Yeah. It's like jet lag.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah,
Something like
jet
that.
lag from the podcast. Yeah.
Which I still have from this past weekend.
Oh, yeah.
we're
Doug was.
praying
I
for you.
was in
He's-
3 time zones
In
on
one
the
day,
same
dude.
day.
That's
Wow.
That's
You know what I'm
pretty
saying?
Mountain
Yeah.
That is
To
wild.
Eastern to Central.
To Central.
that's crazy, man.
MST, EST, CST.
It's good that
That's
you-
how I say them.
Yeah, right. It's good that you ended up in the middle. You know,
Yeah.
it's kind of like if you're dizzy, then you just do one spin back the other way.
Exactly.
It's kind of like a
Yeah.
pendulum with mountain time on one end and
Yeah.
Eastern
Wow.
time on the
You
other.
just kind of right
You're
there
right in the middle.
Yeah.
So you made it.
So I'm here.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm not jet lagged.
So
Feel great.
You found the
Yeah.
cure for jet lag,
I
dude.
did. Yeah.
So go ahead, Kayla.
Just don't think about it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You just adapt to whatever time it now is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
yeah.
Kayla,
Which your phone actually does.
automatically.
Kayla, come on. Let's go.
Sorry. Well, in honor
Always
of
gets
being
us
December, I thought it'd be fun to do some Christmas this or that.
yes.
Christmas,
Yes, I
this or
think
that.
that would be fun too.
I think so too.
I was hoping
Okay.
you'd say that.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, good. Okay.
This.
I knew you were going to because you told me earlier.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Say, if you think my question you're going to answer is going to be a this or a that.
Ahead
Say
of time.
Yeah, ahead of
Oh
time.
man,
This.
Okay.
that
This.
Okay. For this one,
That.
Dang
okay.
it.
Okay. So for this first one, it's
Sports guys got to stick
I guess
together.
it's gonna be this for a real tree
Regular
or
shotgun.
that for a fake tree. So
this for a
What?
real tree, that for a fake tree.
yeah.
What do I have or what do I want?
Well, I guess it's the funny thing was what you guys said for the first one. I think Ryan said this, and
Yep.
then you two said that.
So I have to go buy a real tree.
yeah, now you do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I already
I'll
have
get-
a fake
I'll
tree.
get rid of my
Okay.
fake tree and I'll
Yeah.
go buy a real
Yeah.
tree.
It looks confused, but it's okay.
That's good.
Oh, Christmas trees.
Yeah.
I was like, what are we? Did I miss some context here? But the Christmas is the context.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
I was like, what? I was literally looking at like that's a fake tree. So I guess we have one already.
I'm disappointed to find out that Ryan supports deforestation, but whatever.
Wow.
Sorry, I just want to have fresh oxygen.
You
in
have
my
a tree?
place. I have a fake tree.
You do.
Yeah, but now I'm gonna throw it away and get a real tree.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Where do
Have
you
to
get it
follow.
from?
What do you guys have a fake or a real tree?
We have a
Like chop
fake
it,
one.
chop
A
it
real
down.
one?
Just go
Fake
to
one.
Rocky
Oh, fake
Mountains.
one. I couldn't
Just a
hear you.
little
driving
one.
this.
I know
Colorado.
the chitter chatter.
Yeah.
Too much.
Mm.
All right, moving along. White lights, so like warmish lights, or colorful lights. What do you guys prefer?
This.
So white lights. Okay.
I'm trying to keep to the game.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's
that.
fair. Okay, that.
Or those, if you will, colorful lights.
Yeah.
White lights.
Okay.
Icicles.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Sugar cookies or gingerbread men?
Sugar
Gingerbread.
cookies.
Sugar cookies.
Gingerbread.
Wow.
I'm one of the
okay.
few people that really loves
I do
gingerbread.
like gingerbread.
cookies.
It's like you can only have it really in Christmas time. So.
Run as fast as you
I
can.
knew it was coming.
You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man.
It's honestly
Dude,
spot
your
on.
Whole stand up set in that voice.
If Kins was here, she would. She
Oh,
she
yeah.
loves to do it.
That's pretty good.
Yep.
They are tasty.
Okay, do you?
I did my whole stand up in that voice last night. It was crazy.
Wow.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you
Oh, yeah,
prefer,
it was
or I
last
guess
night. That's
this for the anticipation of Christmas, so like leading up to it, or like actual Christmas Eve and Christmas Day is like where all the fun and joy is?
This.
That's a great question.
Anticipation for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Movies and putting your lights up, all that fun stuff. And then when it's actually Christmas Eve, we just, have a bunch of services and stuff, which is great. But
Your answer
relaxing.
your answer is consistent with the function and design of the dopamine system in your brain.
and that's how I'm very much am.
Mhm.
I like so pumped up, and then when it actually happens, I'm like, oh,
That's
now it's over.
the anticipation part is awesome.
Yeah.
As for me, I practice being present in the moment, so I choose the actual event.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect.
So
But
you're
also-
not present
It's also
Yeah,
in all of December until
I won't look forward to Christmas until the 25th.
Yeah.
but he'll cut a
Yes.
tree down. It's not like we need those.
Yeah. Well.
Okay. Snowy Christmas or warm Christmas? So I guess like Denver Christmas or an Austin Christmas.
This.
Oh, can I throw out a third answer?
Sure.
Southern California Christmas.
Okay.
It's actually why my wife and I love the movie The Holiday so much. So we grew up in Southern California, and our parents lived there for a while, so we would always go to Southern California in Christmas time. Palm trees with Christmas lights on them. And I love it there that time of year.
One year for Christmas, we got rollerblades, and we went to the beach.
Yes.
And we skated all day, all Christmas Day.
All day.
I think about that Christmas all the
So it's just nostalgic. Not to say I don't appreciate a cold Christmas, but that's my answer.
Yeah.
I mean, if I could choose, I would just for Christmas have a
That's fair.
snowy Christmas, but
Yeah.
it's fine if I don't. I'll be okay.
Yeah.
time. Guys,
What about
he's
you,
going to be
Kayla?
fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry about me.
Oh, 100% snow.
Yeah.
Like if it's winter, I love snow, so I'm not the person to complain.
Yeah.
Right.
Give me the 2 feet of snow.
Well,
I
like,
know.
not here.
No,
Can't.
I know.
The whole two,
You were in the wrong place.
I know.
just a little bit of snow, and the whole city shuts down here.
In the wrong
Yeah.
place at the right time.
Yeah, I'm the one that
Yes.
will wear my PJs inside out, spoon under the pillow, ice in the toilet, just so
Yeah.
I can kind of snow.
Or is that some sort of like,
Super.
what religion is that?
Yeah. Well,
It's not superstitious, but it is a little stitious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very
It's like,
stitious.
I don't know. You do
That is
it.
actually extremely stitious.
do you guys have a
That's
fireplace?
supposed to make it
Yeah.
snow?
Do you turn it on?
I don't know.
It doesn't.
We
Usually it
haven't.
doesn't.
Last year, we were like, well,
we know.
what?
Nothing. I was talking about Ryan.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Keep on.
I was starting
It's
to
a
wonder.
real fireplace, though? Okay.
Gosh.
Yeah. I mean, it's the gas one, but it's
Got
real.
it.
It's
Right.
not like I have to light the fire or whatever.
I was going to ask if you ever crank the AC just so you can light the fire.
Oh, I probably will this year. I think I'm just
It's
scared
been
that
cold
it's gonna
though.
like.
We have had
catch on
cold
fire.
weather here.
Oh, yeah.
I know. Yeah, this
A little
week was
cloudy
great.
and cold.
Okay,
a little
last one.
wintry.
Last
I
one,
feel like I'm at the North Pole.
which I have a feeling I know what y'all's 2 answer is going to be.
Which two?
That's fair. Ryan and Doug.
Oh, cool. I like to remain a mystery.
And I think I know what yours is too. But
wow.
I'll let you guys. I'll let you
All
guys
three of
answer too.
Seems like it's going to be a tough question.
Yeah, Elf or Home Alone?
Home Alone.
Yes.
Yeah, Home Alone.
I mean, yeah, I think Home Alone is, it's
Okay, I
a
was gonna
childhood movie
say-
for us. It's like more nostalgic. I love Elf, but Home Alone is our childhood. It's
Yeah.
a movie.
We watched it this week with Kinsley for the first time. And when the first trap, when Kevin shoots the bad guys through the door,
Oh, with the BB gun?
dude, she laughed so hard.
There's a
It was
ton of,
amazing.
Like, big humor.
It was because she was legit like scared for
for
Kevin.
getting hurt.
Oh.
Yeah,
And then she started to like realize what was going on, and she was like, "I'm in.
She said,
let's
and
go."
I quote, I want to be a kid like that.
Okay.
Oh boy.
I gotta find.
Oh, dude.
I want to be a kid like that.
Have they seen Elf yet? Zeke, Will?
Yep.
Yeah.
We just watched it. Zeke, he liked it this time. He didn't like it last year because it made him uncomfortable that Buddy
Oh,
was doing all
yeah.
the wrong things. He's like,
Oh,
what? But this year he kind of got like why that's funny.
okay.
And he liked it a lot more.
Okay.
Yeah.
I saw this meme. Remember, Kevin McAllister could have phoned the police at any time. He was a child who had accidentally been left home alone. One call and he would have been safe, but it was never about safety. He was hunting those men. He wanted them to die. It was fun for him. He enjoyed it.
That's so good, dude. So true. Like how easily you could have
Yeah.
just called the cops.
That- yeah, oh yeah. It's such a good, and they call him at the very end.
For the neighbor's house.
It's great though.
great.
When we were kids, my brother and I, for some of the years we first watched that movie, we thought his name was Home Alone. So
Yeah, so did we. So did we. Yes. We were
Really?
Is that Home Alone?
yeah, we would play
What do
Home
you
Alone.
mean?
Like, let's play Home Alone. One of us would be like the bad guy trying to get in the house, and the other guy would be like, "I'm Home Alone. Like that's my name. I'm Home Alone."
I like that a lot. I like that a
It's
lot.
pretty bright guys.
Crazy
Those
documentary
Matotts.
though, man.
Yeah.
It's one of the craziest. Oh yeah,
Wild
We
documentary.
once convinced a girl that was a documentary.
She bought it.
I don't know how.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Probably still thinks that
I hope
to this
so.
day.
I like to think so. Or it was like years later, someone's like, "Has anyone seen Home Alone?" She's like, "Oh, that is the craziest documentary," and everyone just stops and looks at her like, "What did you just say?"
The real question is, what did Mr. McAllister do for work
Yeah.
to afford that house and pay for vacations for his
a
whole
great
family
question.
and his brother's whole
Oh, yeah.
family?
He was early in the AI game. Yeah.
Dude,
Ooh, he must have been.
He worked at OpenAI when
and
he first started.
be so
Or
laid
NVIDIA.
back.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude,
Like he's not
That's one
stressed
of my
about his
favorite
job
parts of the
at
movie.
all.
Yeah.
So he's making millions and he's not worried about it.
Yeah. Well, he's not worried about his son.
No.
He should be more
What does he
worried, I
say when he
think.
gets home at the very end?
Kevin, hey buddy. That's just it, yeah.
Yeah.
The mom's freaking out the whole time, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah,
he's
he's a little
he's
bit-
kind of cracking jokes and
He's a little lackadaisical,
Oh,
I feel
yeah.
like, as a
they're on the
parent.
flight and the mom's like, it's before right before they realize they left Kevin home, and she's
Yeah.
like, I know we forgot something, and he's like, "Oh, we're good," and she's like, no, did you shut the garage? He goes, that's it, I forgot to shut the garage. See, that's it, you're fine.
Yeah.
Just whatever she was going to say, he was just going to agree with.
But like, okay, you forgot
trying
to
to
shut
get
the
on
garage.
vacation.
We still have a pretty big
also
problem
not good.
on our
No,
hands.
exactly. He couldn't be less concerned.
No.
Sorry,
He's so rich.
I
he doesn't
made
have to care about anything.
sorry, I made $30,000 while we were on this flight, so it's fine.
And he's also probably like kind of burnt out because he's probably had a lot of behavioral issues with Buzz.
oh yeah,
And he's just like, I can't. Like Kevin's like 2.0, and I just don't have it in me at this stage of
Right.
life to keep up with this kid. He's a maniacal child, and
Even the way he talks to the cop at the very beginning.
Yeah.
You have a cop in your living room and you're just so laid back about it. Yeah. That is awesome.
yeah.
Let's get him on the podcast.
Yeah.
I gotta be more like that,
Well,
laid back.
Parts of it.
I mean, I think I'm laid back,
Parts of it probably aren't great.
yeah.
less stressed.
Should care if
you
you
know?
leave your kid at home while you're on vacation more than he did.
I left Kinsley in Atlanta this
You
past
did.
weekend. Yeah,
You absolutely did.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna
Put it
give
on.
the context for that.
Yeah,
I'm
just
just gonna leave it there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
all I
that's
got.
a good cliffhanger. Kayla, thanks so much.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kayla.
You're welcome.
Home Alone it is.
Since you shared what you wanted for your birthday and that happened, what are you asking for Christmas?
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to think on that because now I got to dream big.
Yeah.
Tune in next week to
Yeah.
hear what Kayla is asking Santa for Christmas.
I'm going to come with a list.
Yeah. Rug cleaner,
Yeah, rug cleaner. I looked up.
or like the double-sided tape to go under the rug.
Yes. Okay. I looked up I think it's like the Bissell. I don't know. I probably saying that wrong.
We wouldn't know.
Okay. It is like a sofa carpet cleaner. Like I wanted that, like a vacuum type thing.
And if you use that, then
I
it's supposed to snow.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's super.
Yeah, I almost got that for Cyber Monday or one of those, but then I didn't. I forgot. So
next year.
Do you guys shop on Black Friday, Cyber Monday stuff? No, I didn't either.
No.
Probably should have.
Yeah.
Thanks for reminding me, Kayla.
yep, that's your segue for money though. Shopping and
Oh yeah.
tithing.
Oh,
and-
nice.
Great segue.
So natural.
Yes.
Speaking of shopping, let's talk about tithing.
Kayla is like a mall cop. She's always on a Segway.
Wow.
Wow. There you
Nice.
go. Yeah, that was a good movie.
You did a great job last night.
It's because last night I crushed.
Yeah, you were rolling, dude.
Standing
Jokes like
ovation.
that is crazy. Just every joke killed. It was amazing. So, yeah, just pretty hard shift of gears here.
I'm trying to think of how to do it.
I don't need to. We're just gonna move on.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did. I just didn't. It was kind of like you passed it. I just kind of kept running my route and didn't know I was supposed to.
Right.
So,
Okay, I guess he's
So I'm gonna turn around.
Keep going. Turn around.
Turn around.
Not
And
looking
You gotta look. You gotta look, man.
yeah, he thinks he's just got to go all the way to the end zone here. Well, we have been in a series talking about kingdom building, which includes talking about money and giving,
Mm-hmm.
obedience, tithing, generosity,
Sure.
biblical concepts, but that come with a lot of questions. And probably the main question that people have asked: do Christians have to tithe? Is it 10%? Is that a biblical mandate? Do we find that in the New Testament? So let's talk about that, because two things. A lot of people have baggage with church and money.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have been kind of like told this is what you have to do in like a guilt trip way.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you're not doing this, you're not a good enough Christian or whatever. So there's a lot of baggage around that, money giving. And I think as people hear that concept, if they're not already giving, to go from 0 to 10% is quite a jump.
It's a big
to think
thing,
about
yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
It's a lot to ask of someone. It's a lot to take in, to suddenly I'm going to give away a 10th of my income to my local church. So let's unpack this, because I want, someone texted me from their small group the other night and was like, hey, my small group's having a really good discussion about 10% in the tithe. And do we find that in the New Testament? Can you speak into that a little bit? And she said it was a great conversation of a lot of people sharing different thoughts and opinions. And that's ultimately the goal of our podcast, is to help people in those conversations and hear different sides and arguments and things like that. So I will put it out on the table, and then I've got a little bit I'll share after you guys. What are your thoughts on that question? Do we have to tithe?
It's a great question.
Yep.
You want to take it?
I think you should. I think you should set up the framework in the way that you did yesterday in our conversation.
Okay, so let's think about it like a pendulum.
Okay.
Where in the middle is a cheerful giver who's bringing the first 10% to the local church and then giving above and beyond. Maybe that's in the Kingdom Builder series. Maybe that's sponsoring a kid through Compassion or World Vision, or supporting a friend who's a missionary, or whatever it is. If that's the goal, I think we miss it on two sides. I know I historically have missed it on two sides. One side is going to be giving out of fear that God's going to punish us if we don't. The other side is playing actually, that's not in the New Testament, so I don't have to do that side. And so I'm not actually going to give. And so, does that make sense? One side is giving out of fear. The other side is not giving out of
Me and
that we
Ethan
don't
to a
have
T.
to.
I give out of fear, and he's saying,
Exactly.
I don't want to give, so therefore I don't have to.
And I'm the middle cheerful giver.
I gave all of my comedy income away already. I've already given all.
Dude,
of
we
those
made
dollars.
so much money last night.
Okay, so
Not at all.
Makes me sick.
that's a good setup.
Yep. And I think that what's important to realize is you talked about this 2 weeks ago. Giving is all the way through the Bible, right from Abel, second generation. You see him bringing his first fruits. Abraham, tithe. Jacob, tithe. Tithing becomes a part of the law in Leviticus.
Correct.
Malachi 3, God says, bring a 10th to the storehouse, to the temple, to the church. And so we see that all throughout the Old Testament. Now, the fair point is then what people say is, well, but Jesus never talked about the tithe. And I would actually push back on that and say, actually, he did. And it's in Matthew 23, verse 23. So let me read this for us. Matthew 23, Jesus is talking to the Pharisees, and he says, woe to you, teachers of the law and the Pharisees, you hypocrites. He said, you give a 10th of your spices, mint, dill, and cumin. So they were bringing a 10th of their spices to the temple. It would be like if your kids wanted cinnamon toast yesterday, and so you went out and bought a new thing of cinnamon, and then this morning you were like, hey, so I did buy a new thing of cinnamon yesterday. I brought 10% of it for us
Pastor
today.
Doug, here's a 10th of my cinnamon.
Be like,
Here you are.
I guess I'll do the cinnamon challenge with this.
Distribute it to the people this weekend, I guess.
Yep.
In other words, like taking this with the right heart posture, trying to do the right thing, taking it too far, missing the point. And he's going to say this: but you have neglected the more important matters of the law, justice, mercy, and faithfulness. So they're tithing on their spices, but they're missing the point of justice and mercy and faithfulness. But then here's what Jesus says: you should have practiced the latter without neglecting the former. You blind guides, you strain out a gnat, but swallow a camel, which is old language. You said that last night in your comedy special. Strain out a gnat, but swallow a camel.
Did I say that?
I don't remember.
I think I said
Like
it
3
at the last-
times.
Yeah, at the last show I said it.
Okay.
Yeah. Under my breath, I said it.
Real quick for context, in the law, you weren't able to eat insects that could fly unless they had, I don't have it in front of me.
You don't have this memorized? What bugs people couldn't eat?
You could eat
Locusts.
locusts.
You could eat locusts like John the Baptist and
Yes.
grasshoppers, but the rest you couldn't. So a gnat you couldn't technically eat.
Yeah.
And so if there was a gnat in your water, you'd want to strain it out before you drank it. So what Jesus is saying is you're doing the right thing by straining out a gnat, but you're really missing the point because you're also eating a camel, which is hyperbole of a camel is just a really big animal. And so Jesus is going, you're doing one thing, but you're missing the entire point. In other words, the Pharisees find themselves on the side of the pendulum where they're giving, but it's more out of fear of I need to do this. And I'm going to make a show of it because I need to make sure that God sees me tithing my spices. Really, if we like really ladder that down, because probably at some level I'm scared that if I don't, God's going to punish me or whatever it is.
Right.
But then you also see Jesus address the other side of the pendulum where he goes, you should have done the former without neglecting the latter.
Right.
And so Jesus is saying, but I'm not saying don't tithe. I'm actually saying you should still tithe. It's just don't miss the point while you tithe. And so I love it because Jesus is addressing both sides of the pendulum, the person who's giving out of fear and the person who's going, well, I don't actually have to give. And this is what Jesus is always doing, right? He's trying to get beneath the surface down to the deeper questions of not just the behavior, but the backstory behind the behavior to help set the Pharisees free, but also help set the person free that goes, I don't really know if I have to give. And we see Jesus address the other side all throughout his ministry, like the rich young ruler. He goes, just go sell everything that you have and come follow me. And he can't do it. But then when he sees the widow giving 2 coins, he stops everything and he goes, that's what I'm talking about. Right. And so, I think maybe that's a helpful framework for us to start out with here.
Yep.
Go.
I think another helpful thing to consider, and I think for me, this is what really does it. You see certain practices in God's original design.
Yeah.
So something like Sabbath.
Yeah.
Where he goes, you need to do this because you need you to do this. It's going to bless your life if you Sabbath, if you rest. And in the process, it's going to honor me. And similar with generosity and being open-handed. And so creating almost like let's just say it's the first 10%. Let's make this simple so that there's no questions. If you can do this, it's going to bless you.
Yeah.
And it's going to honor me. And you see things like that before the law. You mentioned at some point to me, I don't know when it was, but God kind of implemented a lot of those things into the law because human beings weren't doing it on our own. And so he's going,
this is really important.
And I'm trying to get you to do the things that are going to bless you. And in the process, they are going to honor me. And just like the Sabbath, just like rest, giving, generosity, the tithe, in my opinion, is absolutely that. So it was a part of God's imagination when he breathed this whole thing into existence and created human beings to thrive. Everything he gives us, including guardrails and including laws and including whatever you want to call them, guidelines or do this, don't do that, is I'm not trying to boss you around.
Good.
And I'm not trying to assert my dominance over you. Like he doesn't need to do that. He's God. All authority is his. He's always ever just tried to bless his kids. Like I didn't have my kids so that they could do chores for me or get jobs one day and then hopefully support me. Like hopefully that happens, but I had them so I could enjoy them as they enjoy this gift of life.
It's so important, man.
And so it was around before the law as part of God's heart for the blessing of people and for the honoring of him. And then it became part of the law to ensure it would happen. And then you have Jesus affirming that but saying, you don't do that to be saved.
Right.
You don't do that for salvation. I took care of salvation. But that doesn't mean stop implementing these things that are part of my hope and will and design for you.
Let's work that into the pendulum real quick. So creation, Genesis 1 and 2. Let's just start with the Sabbath and we'll talk about generosity. Genesis 1 and 2, you see 6 days on, 1 day off, baked into creation. That's the healthy place, the healthy rhythm for a human. Then humans stop doing that. So they swing to this side of the pendulum. And so Exodus 20 comes along, and part of the 10 Commandments, God goes, you got to honor the Sabbath. Like I'm telling you to honor the Sabbath, to try to get back to middle. But then what people did is they took the law and they became legalistic about it. And so they started doing it out of fear. And that's where you see Jesus talking to the Pharisees like, hey guys, remember man was made, or the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. You're totally missing the point. So he's trying to bring it back to the middle.
Right.
Same thing with generosity. God bakes generosity. The life of the generous get bigger. We stopped doing that. And so God makes a law for it. And then by the time Jesus comes on the scene, the Pharisees are bringing their spices to the temple, and God and Jesus is going, you're missing the point. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could almost make an argument that Jesus did more to kind of give us the ability to say we don't have to Sabbath anymore because we're New Testament Christians than he did that we don't have to tithe, because he broke the Sabbath, like in the eyes of the religious in that time.
Right.
But you never hear people argue against that. And that's the interesting thing to me about when people say like, well, that's an Old Testament principle. I really only hear that about mainly giving, but I don't hear anyone like, I don't have to rest. Yeah, that's not a New Testament principle.
Right.
Nobody's making that argument, which points back to the ultimate thing I think Jesus said about money in general was, or the thesis was, you cannot serve both God and money. That's why God has baked these things into creation. You're going to be busybodies. That's why I'm baking rest into creation.
Yes.
You're going to be greedy. That's why I'm baking giving into creation to counteract your flesh. And so I think I would ask the person, because do you have to tithe 10%? You can make the argument that you don't have to do that. And have to for what, right? Like on the fear side to that person, your salvation is not contingent on your giving. No, You're not going to get to the gates of heaven and they're like, well, let's look at your giving statement and see, right?
This guy bought his way into heaven.
That's not the point. And so hopefully that does actually put some people at ease, because I think a lot of newer Christians hear like biblical principles like, oh my gosh, like, and maybe came from a religious background and it's that fear-based of, well, if I'm not doing that right, or if I'm not doing the right percentage, is God actually going to love me? Is he going to save me? Whatever. It's not, I think it's separate it from a salvation conversation.
Correct.
And talk about it as a life principle that Jesus called us to with giving. And then ask yourself the question, like, if you are resistant to it, or the percentage or whatever, like, what's the root of that? And maybe it's, I'm new to this and 10% sounds crazy. I'm open to the idea of giving, but I don't like, do I have to do this 10% thing? Which is very different than I think a lot of people who are kind of just hear about giving and they want to just be resistant because they just don't want to give. They want to hold and be a vault and hold things to themselves. And I think you can make an argument with New Testament that we aren't mandated to tithe 10%, but I think you're missing the point if you're trying to make that argument. And if you try to use the early church as your argument, I think that's actually the worst place you could look to try to argue against 10%, because what did they do? They sold everything they had. They gave everything. And so when people are like, well, I don't see that in the early church, I'm like, you're right. You see something way more radical than 10%.
You don't want to use the early church as your argument.
Let's just read it real quick.
Maybe go off the argument that I don't see a 10% mandate in Paul's letters to the churches or anything like that. But yet again, Paul is talking about people giving out of poverty, people going above and beyond in the generosity that and being cheerful givers from the little they have to give as much as they can to help fuel the ministry of planting churches all over the world. So I don't think using the early church and New Testament churches is a good argument against the principle of tithing.
Just to read it real quick, Acts 2:44, all the believers were together and had everything in common. And then here we go. They sold property and possessions to give to anyone who had need. So they're selling their houses. Or their land and going, well, this person is hurting right now. And so let's help this need here. It was like 10% was child's play. For them.
It's a low bar for the early church.
And this is, by the way, what Jesus, you mentioned this a couple weeks ago in your sermon, was constantly doing with the law, right? Like he goes, you've heard it said, don't commit murder. I say to you, anyone who's even angry has already. Or you've heard it said, don't commit adultery. I've heard you, I say to you, anyone who even lusts after somebody in their heart has already committed adultery. And so what you see is Jesus raising this bar to this like really crazy standard. And so if you're going to play that game, the only way to go is up.
Pretty much.
It's kind of like, remember 835 16th Street in Boulder, Colorado was our college house. Awesome house. And right across the street was a school.
Awesome is a generous term.
We had some awesome times.
We had an awesome time.
The house itself was not awesome because of us.
Amazing. Across the street was a little basketball court that had hoops that were how high?
Probably 7-8 foot.
Maybe.
And we'd go play jump 21, which is an excuse to dunk. And dunking on a 7-foot hoop, pretty easy, really fun. I feel like that's the tithe. And then Jesus came and said, I hope you can dunk on that. I'm actually going to raise the rim and call you to more. Let's go. Call you to a higher standard.
That's great.
we're playing on a different court. Like
Yeah.
we're playing, and it's not contingent. Like you're going to play to win, and you're going to run the race to win the race. Like Paul would say over and over and over again in the New Testament. And I'm going to pour myself out drop by drop. That's Paul's metaphor all the time of like, I want to be wrung out at the end of my life. I want to leave it all on the court. But not contingent on your salary, like not for heaven.
Yeah.
Jesus took care of that. However, the life he's calling us into that we don't have to as much as we get to be part of now.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm raising the rim. Like, hopefully you can dunk on a 7-foot hoop. We're not playing on that court anymore.
Right.
So in my opinion, it's, I want you to have that tied down because we got bigger and better things to
That's
go
good.
on to of a life of generosity. And people can disagree on this, and different churches disagree and different pastors, and that's completely fine. I was once taught that the tithe is obedience.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's say 11%, that's when giving 11%, that's when you start living a life of generosity.
Yeah.
Like the returning of your first tenth is simply an obedient thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we raise the hoop and like, now we can really have some fun.
Yeah.
Right?
And and that first fruits principle is starts in the Old Testament, and I think what's lost on us because maybe we don't have enough context of it was like the tribes of Israel bringing their first fruits, their tenth, to the house of worship to make it possible for the tribe of the Levites to house the presence of God and worship, and that like doing that work on their behalf, because in that nation and culture, the most important thing to them at their center point was the presence of God. Right. So they saw that, yes, as obedience, but also it was like, well, of course we would do that because the most important center of our lives is God at the center, and we need to help make our house of worship happen. And on the opposite side now, when we're arguing maybe about, do we have to give to churches? Can we give to just a nonprofit or not the church or anything? I think is a lot because a lot of us have lost that center point of our lives of like, well, the local church is what Jesus, his plan A, and that's the center point of what we feel first called to, is building his church.
Right.
We've gotten very independent with kingdom building, and it's kind of my thing and that, and we don't have the same mentality a lot of times that the church is the center point of all this. And I do want to say, because some people maybe haven't heard our sermons about this, our conversations about this and our sermons are never about trying to obligate people to tithe at this church.
Yeah.
Right.
And I have felt like truly pressure off all the years we've been talking about this by putting up other churches people could tithe to, by talking about all the opportunities that people have to give, to truly live out of that heart what Jesus says when you give, like to open that up in your life, because like we talked about with rest, the same thing, that God baked this first fruits principle into your life. And ultimately it's going to be for your sake. God doesn't need you to do that. He doesn't need your money. You always make that joke. Like if you think God needs your money, how much money do you have, right? He wants you to be financially free and have more important things on your mind than money. And so I feel like we're always giving people the invitation to a biblical principle of giving and tithing and generosity for the sake of their life, opening up to a new freedom when money tends to be the biggest stress in someone's life. And I know it's like this weird conversation in churches where people are like, well, it's convenient for the pastor to talk about this. I'm like, well, I don't think anyone goes to a nonprofit and here's their CEO at a fundraising event talk about like how important it is that people support the work they're doing because of what it makes happen. But for some reason, the church gets put in this different context than that.
Why? What is the reason?
Let's just call it what it is. There's a few pastors who have really taken advantage of that. And that's just true. And that's just real. Unfortunately, faithfulness doesn't make the news. And so for every one pastor that, whatever has done that, there's 999 pastors who have just faithfully been like shepherding their flock. But that one pastor becomes a very convenient scapegoat.
Yeah.
For somebody to go, but that's what pastors are going to do. I think if we're just being honest, that's probably the first thing.
I also think people like a direct ROI that makes them feel good about when they give. So it feels better to give to a direct cause you believe in when you know exactly what you can say your money went to, of like, I'm very passionate about, helping the homeless. So if I give to this organization, and that's great, But that gives me like the idea that I'm giving directly to the one thing I'm most passionate about, where when you give to a church, it feels more general maybe. Like, well, there's a staff there and there's going to be like ministries that maybe I'm not as passionate about, and they're going to invest into other ministries, and maybe, it's not as like streamlined of a result directly from my giving. And, I've had people say like, I want to give, but I want to know that it's going to that church in India.
Right.
And I like cheer them on in one sense of like, that's awesome, because you clearly have a passion for global missions and you have a heart for people on the other side of the world. And a lot of people don't even think about that. Like, that's amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
Also, I hope that one day you could freely give to your local church. You could freely give to an organization and not need the direct line from my money to me feeling like this is the great win that I got for giving to that. Does that make sense?
That absolutely does. Okay, I have a question. The two different debates or conversations, one is the one we're having right now. Do Christians have to tithe? The other one, do Christians need to Sabbath? Why is there zero emotion in the conversations out there about the Sabbath one?
Funny.
And then there's so much emotion.
Yeah.
And like 100 times as many videos on YouTube about this conversation.
I think it's because we love money.
Yeah.
And often we love money more than anything else.
Yeah.
And that's why Jesus talked about that a lot.
And even
there's a hold that it gets on us.
Yeah.
And it's the hardest thing for us to open up and let go of, because it's the most quantifiable, like, this is my thing in our life. And we need it, right? Obviously.
For sure. Yeah.
And
we work hard for it.
I actually think that the Malachi verse where God talks about tithing, I think it's God's mercy. That's the one thing that he says, test me in this, because he knows it's going to be the hardest one for us.
Agreed.
Always. I think that's very merciful of him to go, try me.
Like, you can test me.
Because I know this is hard for your hearts. I know this is the one thing that's going to rob your attention and affection most in your life. And so I'll put different stakes on this than anything else for you guys.
Is it Jesus who says you should not put the Lord your God to the test in Matthew 4 in the wilderness when he's being tempted?
Yeah.
And he's quoting like Deuteronomy or somewhere in the Old Testament. So that like, you don't test the Lord your God is scripture. Yeah. And yet it's like God's breaking his own rule in one way. Specific area, going, hey, out of his mercy, you can test me on this because I know how hard this one is.
Deuteronomy 6:16.
Yeah, it's a really interesting
that's
thing when you really think about that. That's in the Bible. That he goes, there's one thing you can test me in.
Yeah.
Which, that raises the stakes, but I think also should hopefully free us up in the kind of nervousness we have about giving. Yeah. Of going like, okay, but God clearly says he's going to meet you here. Yeah. I said this past weekend, like, Jesus literally says, when you give, he will reward you. Yeah. When you are doing this unto the Lord, when you open up your posture of what he's called you to and you give, he will reward you for that. And I think it's almost like he's put an incentives package together for you to be like, this will be the hardest one for you. So I'm going to promise you, I'm going to show you a little bit of the steps ahead of what this is going to mean in your life if you'll just be obedient to this, because I know it's hard for human beings.
I'm trying to bless you. I also see eternity. Right. So the thing about eternity is, do you have to tithe to go to heaven? Like, no, it's Jesus who gets you to heaven, right? And your faith in him as your Lord and Savior. That's what does it. However, it's so clear in the New Testament, like how many times he says, and you will store up treasure for yourself in heaven. Yeah. Your reward will be in heaven. It's so clear heaven's going to be different levels of awesome and different experiences. I don't know exactly what those rewards are or what stored up treasure looks like in heaven, but it's different for people depending on how we live now. And there's no way around it. That's just true. And so he's trying to get you to live in certain ways to where you're not taking your reward now, but you're saving it for the rest of forever. It's almost like he's there already going, guys, trust me, like you can't see what I see yet, but I'm trying to get you. Yeah. You're not going to regret anything you gave one day when you're in heaven. No, you're not.
No. So that's a funny concept to think about. Francis Chan had a bit years ago where people would always make fun of him or not make fun of him, but question how generous he was and how much he gave away. And he goes, worst case scenario is my wife and I starve to death. And he goes, let's say that happens. And then we die and we go to heaven. What's God going to say? Stupid. You shouldn't have given it all away. Yeah. And he's pointing out this thing that we all know as Christians, but we're all afraid to like really embrace. Yeah. that this life isn't all that there is. That in eternity, every dollar that we give, we're going to be grateful that we did. And so it's almost like Peter walking on water. It's like God is still with the other 11 disciples in the boat, but Peter experiences Jesus in a different type of way, in a different type of proximity when he gets out of the boat. And so really all we're trying to do when we talk about generosity is help people take a step, whatever step that is, out of the boat. And I think that gets back to your second question of, I think it can be tempting to think that we're trying to make people take all 10% step right now. It's like, what if today, as you're listening to this podcast episode, you just take one step, and let's start with one step. Yeah,
it could be, I'm going to go from 0 to 1%. I'm just going to try that. I'm going to try 2%. And I'm going to have a goal that each month or each year, I'm going to go up a little bit,
6-7%.
6-7, yeah, sure. That's a good starting range, maybe. I still don't know what it means, but it doesn't have to be a 0 to 10 right away thing.
Yeah.
I think people get panicked about, like, am I doing the right number or anything? That's why Jesus says this is supposed to be between you and God. So go talk to him about it. And a lot of times, quite honestly, in my life, like, a number's just come up in my head.
Yeah.
And often I'm like, well, I can't be that. Certainly I saw an extra digit there, right? But God will speak to you in that. And if someone were to come to me and go, hey, I've been praying about this and I feel like I'm like called to give 5%, I'd go, okay, like, that's between you and God. So you are going to go and do that, and that's great. I think the worst thing you could do is just find a way to talk yourself out of any sort of giving in your life.
Yeah,
right.
That's the worst thing you could do. But what is the step that you could take? That would be my most practical advice. Step forward. I think Francis Chan ended up being a guy who was like the opposite, where he tried to give away 90.
Yeah. Yeah, to reverse tithe.
Away 90.
Yeah.
He's pretty wild.
There's people that each year of their life, they go, I'm going to give another percent. I'm going to give it until we're talking crazy, percentages, but I love that heart posture.
Yeah.
I'm not going to think about the minimum I have to do. I'm going to think about the maximum that I could do to build God's kingdom, because ultimately I care more about that. It's actually it just got me thinking when you were talking. It's it's been very humbling in my life when I've been in churches in other countries in very poor areas, and I've watched a collection plate go past and everybody's pitching in.
Yeah.
And maybe they have some more of that, like, Old Testament mentality of, like, this is what matters most here. Like, in some of these places, there was no church until this church. And like, we sat in Nepal at the base of this valley, and it was the first church ever in this valley in this people group. Sat in a church service in there. For those people, like, that is everything to them.
Yeah.
That they got to hear the gospel, and now they have a little, and it's like outside under a hut, like, but they have a place where they come together as a church body to worship and read the scriptures together. And there's not a hint of, I can't believe I have to do this. I can't believe they would ask me.
We're
it's
talking
like
money this week.
What, like, from the little we have, we are so excited because we get to do this and build this church and invite other people in. There's a lady at the Lane Murray unit who tithes here.
Dude.
Yeah.
And that'll humble you, because you see the heart posture of somebody that goes, I think it's Brad from Austin Ridge. I've heard him say, we got to care more about people than our dollars. I love saying, like, the way he says that, because that's such a great mentality that so simply says, a lot of us don't really care about people. We care about money more than that. So what is a step you could take? I think that's the practical advice.
Yeah. You know what passage stuck out to me this week? I was reading 1 Corinthians 16. This is Paul, so it's the end of his first letter to the church in Corinth. And he goes, now about the collection for the Lord's people. Do what I told the Galatian churches to do. So Paul's going, I said the same thing to the church in Galatia. On the first day of every week, each one of you should set aside a sum of money. I love this. In keeping with your income, saving it up. So he's like, plan for this and save money for this and be smart with your finances so you have something to bring, so that when I come, no collections will have to be made. Then when I arrive, I will give letters of introduction to the men you approve and send them with your gift to Jerusalem. So Paul goes, here's what we're going to do. Every week, you're going to keep collecting money. You're going to keep looking for people who are ready to go plant more churches. And when I get there, we're going to take that money and we're going to take those people and we're going to send them out to keep planting more churches. And it's beautiful because it's like, that's what we do, but we're just running Paul's play here.
Yeah.
It was running Jesus's play. Like, this has just been the design from the beginning. Like, let's keep planting more churches.
Yeah.
And that requires money. And so it's not going to be taboo. We're just going to talk about it.
It's just part of how it works. So people might argue, like, well, when Jesus was talking to the Pharisees and he affirmed the tithe, he was talking about the old covenant way, and make that argument against the new covenant way. I want to talk for a second about historically what kind of happened in the church when it came to the idea of tithing and giving. So the early church, there wasn't like a mandated 10% tithe. It was free will giving, offerings, pouring everything they had, not considering like we're under the Mosaic law, so we still have to follow all 613 and all that kind of stuff, but more so, Jesus just gave us a new commission to build his church that's going to require pretty much everything we've got. So that was the mentality. And then as the church became more formalized, talking like 4th century, there's buildings starting to plant, like establish churches and have clergy, people, pastors, people working in those. Tithing started to be utilized as a model to the church body to say, hey, this is a biblical principle and it's going to take all of us here. This is a good baseline for how the Bible works. Still not like an enforced thing, but what's really interesting, in the 6th to 8th centuries, it became not like an expectation, to the point that in 750, by 785, there was a law in some places in the world that you had to tithe. It was like you got taxed. You didn't have a choice because they saw like the need for it, but also the church was considered like the most important thing. So people literally had to tithe. And that then changed over time, where it went from a tax in like medieval church, very much often churches operated like it was a tax that everybody, kind of like you walk in, they're like, so give your tithe. 10%. And then out of the Protestant Reformation, that got shaken up, where there's people disagreeing about like, well, I don't think we have to like tax people. This isn't like a command of a have to. It's supposed to be out of a cheerful heart. And it went back to more of a, this is a you and God conversation. There is a spiritual mandate of giving, but we're not going to tax you 10% exactly. But then into the modern church, it's almost like it kind of has gone back to how it went after the early church, where, well, but people, if they're just kind of left to like, it's between you and God, they're probably not going to do it most of the time. So the church adopted in the last couple of centuries, more modern evangelical, using the tithe as a baseline again of, hey, here's a biblical principle of first fruits. We're all called to give. And if you want a good idea of what that looks like, the Bible always talks about a tenth. So use that as your baseline. Not that you're going to get an invoice when you walk into church, but this is a great baseline. This is a great 7-foot hoop to think about as a starting point. I think that's interesting.
Fascinating.
To watch that.
You see the pendulum just keep going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
What you can't get away from is you are called to give. That is a biblical principle everywhere you look. You can argue percentages. You can argue Old Testament versus New Testament, all that stuff if you want to. I think my biggest question is, why are you arguing about that stuff? And what is your heart, like what does your heart need to work on? What makes people walk out of sermons when money comes up, or we share some stats or things like, what is that? I'm always just curious, what's the heart
What
issue
is
there?
that?
And
That's a good question.
And like, by the way, if that's you and maybe you're angry right now as you've been listening to this, like, I get that. We get that. Like, money is an essential part of life. You have to pay bills. You have to eat food. You have to pay rent. All of that. Like, I get it. And so I think let's take some of the air out of the balloon for a moment, and just like a lot of grace here with all the truth of like, we get that. God gets that. And God's a good, loving Father who has good plans for your life. And so I think it's important to just like remove the shame from this conversation. And when you start to remove the shame, you start to realize like, oh, but generosity is this beautiful calling that is like actually expansive and moves me into it to ever and ever expanding life that I get to live that becomes very, very fun with money. And so if you are angry as you're listening to this, I get it. And also be brave enough and courageous enough to invite the Holy Spirit into that place and into that wounding, and go, where did that come from? And maybe it's generations of your family feeling like they have to hold on to everything that they have. Okay, let's talk about that, and let's learn and realize what it would look like to open our hands a little bit.
Yeah, you can inherit a scarcity mindset from tough times. I think in the garden, we were stewards with an abundant mindset. And then sin happened and we became sinners with a scarcity mindset, where you better take what you can get and hold on to it. And the lie from the devil since the very beginning is God is holding out on you and does not actually have your best interest at heart. When in reality, he's only ever tried to give. We're called to give because we're made in the image of a generous God. And he's only ever tried to, he is, I think right now, for the person listening to this who's maybe financially stuck or feeling the weight, carrying the weight of the world, or frustrated, I think God right now is wanting to get more to you. He just has to know that he can get it through you. And there's a solid chance he doesn't believe he can right now. And if he gave you more, it's just going to stop with you, because everything up until this point has just stopped with you.
Right.
Yeah.
And you need to show him it's not going to stop. I'm not going to be a vault. I'm going to be a vessel as best as I can. And in the process, I'll have what I need.
Yeah. And
I can save for the future and go on that vacation, and still live a life of generosity. He just needs to know that he can actually get money through you. I think that's a very fair question to ask yourself, whether you have church baggage around this topic or not. Can God get money through me? And not based on the future of like, if you had this much, could he get it through you? Based on history.
Totally.
Based on right now and before.
Yeah.
Can God get money through me or not?
Yeah, and we've had friends of ours, guys in the church that, have become really successful. And they're like, I'm glad I made the decision to give early on when I didn't have much.
Oh, yeah.
So it would have been way harder to make that decision now, because 10% or whatever they're, giving is those stakes have raised dollar amount wise. Makes me think what you're saying about the parable of the talents, because the owner gives three different guys three different amounts. And the guy with the least is the one who buries it, and he can't get the money through him, right? The guy buries it, literally. Yeah. And we always focus on that guy, and it's like, so don't screw this up. But I've always looked at that story like we should focus on the other two guys, because he gave more to those two guys, which means he trusted them more, and kind of proven right by the fact that they both multiplied what he gave them. Because and I also think it's funny in that story, it sounds really harsh, because the guy who gets the least is like, well, I know he's a really harsh guy, but he probably knew him the least because he had got the least from him. He was trusted with the least, so they probably didn't have a close relationship where the guy trusted the other two guys more.
Dude.
And I don't think they thought the same thing about that guy. I think they clearly thought, hey, if he gives us something, like he wants us to take some risks and go build something from this, go multiply this, go make more of it.
Wow.
One guy from a scarcity mentality, the other two from an abundance mindset, who probably knew the manager or the owner better than the guy who gets thrown out at the end because he just buried it.
Just buried it.
Can I put out a challenge? What are the numbers that he gives to the three again? Do you
5,
remember?
2, and 1.
5, 2, and 1. So to your point, the 2 and the 5 have the abundance mindset. I want to give a challenge to some people this year who are listening to this, and maybe you've been coming around for a long time. You're like, yeah, I love this topic. Both the 2 and the 5 had an abundance mindset, but somehow the person who got 5 had more of an abundance mindset than the person who got 2. And I wonder if it's time for some people to jump from the 2 to the 5.
Yeah.
So not just from not doing anything to taking a step. That's great. If that's where you're at, then do that.
Yeah.
There's some people who are like locked into this.
Yeah.
And I'm going, let's up the ante even more.
Yeah.
What if 2026 is a year for radical faith?
Yeah.
Just a challenge.
No, that's really good. It's been like you're talking to the classic baby step person.
Yeah.
Who's taking the same little baby step again and again and again.
Yeah.
Because there's great baby steps are beautiful, but until it's like you're not called to be in the shallow end.
Yeah.
You've been here for a while.
Yeah. We don't celebrate when a 10-year-old is still taking steps.
Right.
We celebrate when they start running around playing football. Right. It's like the natural growth process that happens.
Yeah.
And I think as like a incentive as part of that too, like whenever I talk to an older person that's kind of near the end of their life, I never hear somebody say something like, I wish I hadn't given so much. It's always, I wish I had given away more. I wish I hadn't prayed as much. It's, I wish I had prayed more. Like all the things that are biblical principles, it's always at the end of life, you hear people say, I should have just done more of that.
Yeah.
And we get like this in the in-between, right? What do you say real quick to somebody who goes, well, I do like the principle of giving, but not to the church. I give to this organization or I give somewhere else. I just don't feel called to give to the church. What do you say to that?
I think God's design, the ideal scenario is, well, I'd ask why. Why is it that you don't want to give to the church, because there might be an element of it where you give to this very specific thing at this organization and you get this warm feeling because like that's the sexy thing to give to. Sure. And if I give to the church, it's like I give with no dopamine hit in return, you know? Yeah. And so that in and of itself, then giving to the church is like, the obedience is the reward, not the dopamine hit you get from it. Yeah. And there's a beautiful thing to that, where it's obedience for the sake of obedience when you give to the church. But I would ask, first of all, why? Okay. I think but then there's going to be the person who's like, no, I give some to the church. I just really feel called also to give to this. To me, that's like a conversation so much farther down the road when somebody is actually giving 10% and above of their income somewhere. Then it's like, once we get there, now let's start talking. If you want to start talking about whether you give this to the church or whether you give this to Compassion International or to K-Love or whatever it is, I think that conversation can get really interesting. The ideal, in my opinion, is you are returning your first 10% to the house of the Lord, to the storehouses, to be used by the priests and Levites strategically. From Nehemiah, you see that. Because the church, like you gave that message last year. I mean, you give it every year, but last year you called it the mutual fund. Yeah. Or like the church is like a giant mutual fund. So you give here, or you give to your house of worship, and you're funding everything. Right. There's so that's kind of what I want to tell that person is like, I want to give here, but I want to know it's going to go to that church in India. I'm like, well, it is. You are building that church in India, and you're doing 100 other things too. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Having electricity on so that our teenagers can worship is also something we invest into. That's important.
Can you tell the shipping container story real quick?
Oh yeah.
It just feels right.
Year one of our church, I was like, would get the bills. We were in setup teardown mode, and we had a mobile mini shipping container outside of our venue where we would store all of our stuff. So every month I would pay that bill. And at first I was like, kind of frustrated because it was the exact dollar and cent amount of my tithe. Wow. And it felt so stupid. I was like, oh my gosh, like, of course I'm going to give to this church that I'm helping like plant and build. I believe in this. Right. But what I'm paying for is the shipping container outside. Like, and I also am the guy who gets to write the check to help build the house in Honduras, or plant the church in India type stuff. And there's some more fruitful areas, in my opinion, at that time. And I first kind of resented it, but then over the months, I started to like smile every time I got that bill, because I thought, man, I work hard to be able to tithe this, and it's not glamorous. It's like the least glamorous thing that could be paid for in our church right now, but somebody's got to pay for that, because that houses all the equipment that we bring inside, and we set it up every week, and then we can have services because of that. We can have kids ministry because of that stuff, and then people are getting saved out of that. And this all starts in that shipping container. So while it started as like, I hate that that's what my tithe is for, I came to love it. Yeah. I still have the lock from that shipping container, because I never want to forget, that's like, sweet. I'm not giving to feel good about the cool thing I did. I'm giving to build the church. That's awesome, I'm giving to fund the kingdom of God. And if it means I'm paying for a shipping container, then God bless it. We need that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, that's where all the freedom is. That's a beautiful
That was a wrestling match where I found some of that.
That's a beautiful answer. And to just be as clear as possible, I think the ideal calling and the goal that you are on your journey of generosity, trying to get here as soon as possible, not to get here like when you're 75. Yeah. Like, let's get here when you're 25, when you're 30 years old. Is you are returning the first 10th of your income to the house of God. You are God, this is for you, as opposed to saying, I'm giving this to you, God, through this organization or through this radio station. It's like, no, there is something set apart about the Church of Jesus Christ. Yes. I am returning my first and best tenth to you. And then I feel called to give to this organization and fund them.
Awesome.
I am from 11% to 14%. That goes to that organization, or the $39 on top of my tithe that goes to my compassion kid.
Yeah. Yeah. You said, I'm just going to quote you, because you should say this right now, but you forgot. When Jesus says, where your treasure is, there your heart is. And for that person, I think what they're saying is, my heart's not really in the church.
Yeah.
It's in this other stuff.
Right.
My heart's not there.
Right.
And that is the question of why.
Why? Yeah, we used to, when we put up that LED slide that says here's four other places to give. It's one of our favorite things to do because it's so disarming, and it's a joy to put it up there.
Yes.
Absolutely. But we used to have some churches and then some organizations like Compassion, and we don't do that anymore. We just have like churches. And not that I don't believe in Compassion, Convoy of Hope. What those organizations are doing is amazing. They're changing the world. We fund a lot of what they do through
They're
the church.
extensions of the church.
Exactly. But teaching people when you tithe, it's not just anywhere. You're not just giving anywhere. You are returning to God. That's what you're doing. And so you should be doing that in a church. Ideally, like if you want to start giving to this church that you see on the LED screen, but keep coming here, there's eventually a reckoning you're going to have to do in your own heart, because where your treasure goes, there your heart is. And if you're giving to that church, but still coming here, your heart's going to be at that church. Like you should be
all in there.
giving to the house that you are planted in, and get there as soon as possible. So the one last thing I want to say is I've had this conversation a lot with somebody in my office who is, it's tough times financially, and it is for a lot of people right now.
Sure.
Yeah.
And you think about like the prices of groceries, or even like trying to buy a condo in Austin, and somebody saying, I can barely afford everything I need every single month without tithing. So I can't afford to do it right now. I actually really love that conversation, because we say like, hey, let's just start somewhere. And maybe you start at 1%, and maybe we'll get there over time. And God doesn't put a timeline on heart transformation. I think as long as you see what the vision is and you are actively working towards it, let's just start somewhere, and freeing people up to do that. And then I also say something very honest at the end of that conversation. I go, but I'm gonna be completely transparent. If I am you, I'm giving you this advice to start small, but if I'm you, and I can say this from experience of me and Sam, I'm like, I can't afford not to tithe. I'm doing this right now. If I'm making $21,000 a year, I am giving the first 10%, returning it to God. Because of what I know. Like that's the lightning lane. That's the fast pass in the kingdom of God. Like if there's 2 cheat codes in the kingdom, it's fasting and it's giving. And I'm like, I can't afford. So I'm giving you this advice and freeing you up to say, if you want to take your time on this journey, there's so much grace on that, and that's beautiful. But if it's me, I am doing 10% on my next paycheck, and I'm not ever going to dip beneath that again. And watch, and because God says test me, so that's why I'm like, I can't afford not to do this. So I'll give you this advice, but this is what I would do, and there's not a question.
Really good.
There is not a question in my mind. I wouldn't debate that. I would do it yesterday if I'm that person, which I've been that person.
And that
right,
but that's the advice I would give to somebody. It's like, you want to argue percentages, you want to pick a different, like, fine. You want to say you don't have to give it all. Okay. Try it.
Try it.
I just dare you to try it. God makes it very clear. I assume you're going to give. Try me on this and watch what happens in your life.
And don't try one paycheck.
No, like commit to it.
What if you gave God, I'm going to talk about this weekend, but what if you gave God 2026? And you gave this way. I tried him for a year.
I said this past week, I'm like, let's be honest. When you give, you now have less money. So that's how that is going to happen.
It will happen.
And if you only do that once, you're going to feel that and be like, well, that sucked.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. I have less money now.
This seems like a bad investment.
But I've over time, we were just sitting with some guys a little while back, and each of them was talking about their tithing story. When they finally went from, it's not going to be emotive, it's not going to be when I feel like it, like I'm going to commit to this. And every single guy in that circle said something along the lines of like, I love it. I look forward to it. And when I see that hit my account, or when I physically give or whatever, it's changed my life. It's brought freedom. Steph and I, when we got married, we were, I think, I was making 25 grand, my first ministry job. Steph worked at a nonprofit making a little bit more than that. And in our premarital counseling, as we're talking about joining our money and all that, the guy who was leading us, Dan, he was like, all right, well, we're going to make a budget with you guys because we want to help set you up for success. And so we lay out like, well, this is what we got. He's like, okay, so the first 10% for tithing, and then let's move on. And I was like, whoa. Like,
Yeah.
That's a significant amount in this very small amount of money. But we together, Stephan and I, in that moment, like as we made our first budget, we just said, this is just going to be what we do. No matter what, we're going to always commit that the church and building God's kingdom comes first. That is literally the one area of our marriage we've never fought about.
It's awesome.
So there's testimony after testimony I could share about that.
Yeah.
And that's why I say, try it. Try God on this.
Try it.
And not for the sake of the kingdom of Red Rocks, for the sake of the kingdom of God and for your freedom in your life when it comes to the thing that tends to rob it the most from you.